Through the trees near a knoll in the forest, a small fire crackles as Aroden and Veldrin rest from a day's travel. No words shed as they prepare for sleep. In the mist of the night, a noise grabs their attention. Branches snapping and rhythmic thudding hitting the ground. Rushing toward them with its head down as a blight, possessed stag eyes glowing and snorting with rage, the hollow horn looks for the first victim. Veldrin lunges out of the way, while Aroden stands his ground. The hollow horn rises up and slams its hooves down over the fire. Its blight aura sends a shockwave of magic damage in an area missing Veldrin, but finding a home for the necrotic damage in Aroden. The dwarf stumbles back with a groan, a loud grunt let out as the front hooves land in the fire around the hollow horn. Veldrin readies to dodge at the next attack. Aroden regains his footing as he raises his hammer and battle axe to strike true on the neck of the stag. The commotion as drawn in a fellow traveller of the night, Asriel Nixian, takes his time to sneak up behind the blighted beast. Taking his short sword and stabbing down, splitting the spine of the stag, removing its ability to use its hind legs, limiting its movement. It will be fate that two more people will be drawn to the fight ensuing. Pridwin walking alongside, a Goliath named Ethanold saw the fight happening. Pridwin, taking advantage of the chaos, snuck up, planting her rapier in the side of the exposed rib cage of the hollow horn. Ethanold, in desperate need for a snack, sat back to watch and eat what chicken he brought. Now Veldrin knocked his arrow and took aim, finding his aim true into the side of the stag. Its response was to spin around, swinging its sharp, large antlers to hit anything it could, but found no one. Aroden jumped to mount the back of the beast, but could not find a seat. He swung with his battle axe, connecting again, slicing deep in the stag's side. Asriel, completely forgotten, misses his opportunity to attack again. Ethanold looks on, almost done with his chicken. Pridwin stabs again. Find blue blight mist falling from the ribcage of the beast. Veldrin sends another arrow, sticking into the side of the stag. Arodon swings both his battle axe and hammer to smash part of its skull. Asriel, returning to the fray, talks to the beast. A dark, echoing voice replies to him for all to hear. Kruveth, Shireen, Velshar Othrakan. He understands the blight, tongue, Pridwin. Casting understand language gets the meaning of these words. You wear the light, but you bleed the same. Pridwin shoots Asriel a glance of suspicion. Asriel brings his hand together to send a frost projectile that strikes the chest of the beast, splitting it in half, leaving it dead, with blue blight mist leaving into the night sky. The fellow travellers gather around as Asriel begins to cut off the antlers for his own taking. Aroden finds the heart and drops it as blue mist leaks off, and the blight echoing hum resonates off of it. Asriel scooped up the heart and placed it in his bag. Ethanold walks up now as they begin to talk about who each other is. The discussion is not as cordial as you might imagine before Aroden brings a unifying fact to the attention of the group. His desire to destroy Heliath, and asks if they would aid him. Asriel reveals his mission to return magic to the land as part of history of being a celestial. The group still manages to remain in a tense discussion. Before long, a light flickers through the trees. They scatter. Prudent runs up the side of a tree to the lowest hanging branch. Asriel and Veldrin find a tree to hide behind, whilst Aroden and Ethanolda hide behind a nearby knoll. It is an old orc druid named Terak who calls for Pridwin. He knows she is there, and that there are others from the plants and trees told him so. They all come out of hiding, and Terak relays that he needs Pridwin back to meet with someone important. Terek notices the drow Veldrin and proceeds to ignore his presence. The entire trip back to the marsh village. Once they arrived at the community in the marsh, they find themselves in the center of it, in the town hall. A roaring fire and a table with a hooded figure surrounded by 10 or more other druids. These druids are silent when the strangers walk in. Terek asks Pridwin to stay, and the rest can go to the tavern for breakfast. Asriel convinces Terek to let him stay and listen to what is said. The others make their way to the tavern once outside Veldrin, however finds a spot to listen nearby. Aradin and Ethanold meet some tavern-goers who have had a bit much to drink. They recognize Aradin the warden and sing a song in his honor. Aradin tries to work the room for information to no avail, while Ethanold finds drink and food as his comfort. Back in the town hall, the hooded figure reveals themselves to be an elf of no magic, but a scout for the village. He tells his tale of how he got lost on his way to the kingdom he was charged to investigate. He found a road to the north full of ashen blue mist. Dead trees with hundreds of bodies hanging from the branches with eyes gouged out. He had never seen anything like it. It was horrific. He then found a kingdom, but unsure if it was the right one. He heard about the Witch King's conclave, bringing all the wizard kings to Hell's Keep for a time. One more thing of note was the kingdom he was in is beginning a school for magic users. Only children below a certain age are taken and forced in. Any other magic user would be killed on sight. This information motivates Terek to speak his mind to Asriel about his hypothesis that Solara is the key. The old capital of Vharos, now in ruin, must have something to do with this. Solareth, though Tarek does not worship him, believes he is the key to taking down Heliath, and Solara was the city built for Solareth, to honor and worship him. He gives his information to Asriel and Pridwin to make their way to the Solara ruins. Veldrin slips away quickly to find Aradin and tell him what he had found out. In the tavern, the barkeep tells Aradin of the druid study, where they research and learn. Perhaps they could find more information there, Veldrin. Aradin go to find the study and press for more questions. They meet a lovely elf druid professor who gives them much of the same information on the hypothesis of Solara and Solareth's role in defeating the Witch King. Revealing this is a group hypothesis they have come up with through classes and joint efforts to solve their problem. It was not long after the rest of the group showed up at the study. This unlikely group of individuals of uncertain backgrounds are joined together to see what the ruins of Solara will reveal.